Every day I think to myself, how bad can things in relationships and dating get? And somewhere around the world, a woman turns on her smartphone, spews nonsense, trashing men, and validates my point of how useless having a long-term partner is. I honestly thank God for social media, because He gave us the truth about what women were thinking about men all along. I believe that a lot of the nonsense we hear from modern women today is partly due to womanism, and I firmly believe the other half is what they actually felt from the very beginning about men. I want you guys to remember that men were the dominant force in society once upon a time, and women had no power besides raising the next generation. But look at what happened when they came from being the weaker of the genders to now in the West. They can somewhat stand on their feet. Look at the treatment we get from them when they start to show their true colors. Isn't that what is happening now in society with how women treat men? Think about it for a second. The moment they started to out-earn some men and have their own independence, what they do, they begin treating men like garbage to the point now that they don't even care about men. When you look at the fact that they got a little power empowerment from the womanist movement, then they started to exert their dominance over men, economically and socially. Following that with social media, they began to voice their negative opinions about men. It starts to paint a picture that maybe it isn't just womanism speaking. Perhaps it's what they have always thought and wanted to say, but didn't have the power to do so. Not only that, when you look at the social dynamics between men and women these days, to me it seems like men care far more about women than how women care about. Who do you see mostly online making videos or voicing their opinions that they can't get a relationship? Mostly men. Who do you see distraught with the way how relationships are today? It's men. The only women complaining online about good men are washed up, reformed 3 or 4, single mothers who wreck their lives, old wrinkle-infested women, women who are on the brink of financial collapse, and desperate women who want a man's seat or money. But women of all ages seem to not care about men anymore, unless it's out of desperation or a need. I've listened to the modern women and all the things they have to say, and when they are winning in, they don't care about men, family being virtuous, or none of that stuff. They care about themselves, and if they have kids, they'll care about the kid up to a point, and that's it. I hear them blatantly disrespecting and putting down men. I listen to them saying they're not ready to settle down, and they want to enjoy their younger years. You see, men are the ones who want relationships. Men are the ones who want family, and men are the ones frustrated that they can't get what they want. It's almost as if women are what the men in the past were, and men are now starting to want what women have always wanted for men. You have to start thinking if what you want from women is even worth it when they don't care about you, and they're just with you to get the bag. At the end of the day, I want you to understand that the divorce is planned before the wedding. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams for simplifying why divorce happens at the rate it does. The divorce is planned before the wedding, gents. This means that she got all the information she needed before the wedding day from the women around her and the research she did so that she knows that anytime she's ready to bounce, she'll be in a good situ. You should hope strategists who can't leave long-term relationships and win it alone. Many of the girls you are with and your wives didn't want to be with you, but it's only because she couldn't get anyone better. She quote-unquote settled for you. This is why the argument of settling is even a thing. The truth is this: she's only with you because she could not do any better, or you're the only man that was available and dumb enough to put a ring on her finger, and because she didn't care about you from the get-go and was only looking out for herself. She has no problem dumping you like trash and taking every drop of resources she can from you. Nothing a woman does is by accident. Gens always remember that the pregnancy wasn't an accident. Her smoking out the weed and taking drugs wasn't by accident. Her rebelling against her father and being a full-fledged cream gobbler wasn't an accident. Everything she does is what she wants because at the moment when the decision presented itself, she felt like she wanted to do it, and because it felt good she did it. Now, after the fact, when the consequences present itself, Then she'll feel regret and want to skirt accountability and act like she didn't know what she was doing. As long as she wasn't under the influence of a drug or alcohol, forced or coerced into doing something, then just know that any result from her decision is on her. I've known married men who purposefully stayed out late just so they had an extra hour or two at the bar, or with their coworkers so they didn't have to go home to their wives and kids. And when these guys reached home, their wives would argue and create turmoil for no other reason than to be that man had to endure nonsense at his workplace and take a tongue lashing from his boss when he messed up, only to go to his house that he's paying for and get even worse treatment than at his workplace. I've seen women treat their female friends and coworkers better than how they treat their husbands and boyfriends. Whatever happens to you is your fault. If you still choose to be with someone who doesn't want you and are just tolerating you, I rest my case.